Hey guys, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe cooking channel. Today I want to take you through a little bit of a comparison between the new Kamado Joe Classic 3 and the existing Kamado Joe Classic 2 and show you what some of the differences are between these two units. So let's get started. One of the first differences we have here is the new cart. This is a galvanized steel powder coated cart. It's very nice. It's a very nice fit. It's got a nice deck on the bottom of it that you can use to store pieces that are not in use with your grill at the moment. It has two locking casters, and one of the great things about these casters is these are 4-inch casters instead of the 3-inch casters that are on the standard cart. This thing rolls a lot more smoothly over any uneven surface that you might have to roll it over. It really makes a big difference in that size caster. Kamado Joe's also included a probe wire management system here. If you've got probes running from your iCommand up to the grill, they can thread through these. And this cart actually has two front sides. It has that on the opposite side also, where you could have either side of this cart facing front. Kamado Joe's also upgraded the side tables on the 3 line. These are now powder coated aluminum instead of the standard HDPE side shelves. The inside of the Classic 3 is a little different than the Classic 2. I'm going to show you the difference in some photos here that I made. I made a set of photos as I walked through the assembly of this. The first thing you're going to do is put the ash pan in place, and then you're going to set the firebox ring over the top of the ash pan and get that centered and get it aligned so the drawer is aligned with the front door. And then once that's in, you can lay the pedals of the firebox in place. The Classic has 5 pedals and the Big Joe has 6. This is just like the 2 in this aspect. Once you have those laid in place, you'll install the metal fire ring on top of the pedals. And just like the Classic 2, we have the divide and conquer flexible cooking rack that goes in place along with the charcoal basket. The difference here between the 2 and the 3 comes with the charcoal basket and the divider, and it does not come with the cast iron fire grate that comes with the 2. That piece has kind of been obsoleted by the charcoal basket, and the charcoal basket's a lot nicer setup, so it comes with the 3. Everything else about the divide and conquer flexible cooking rack is basically the same, except for the rack that comes with the 3 has 3 cooking levels on it instead of 2 that we'll look at in a little more detail here. So that's basically how that goes together with your heat deflectors and your grill grates. The 3-level divide and conquer rack comes with 2 half moon grates. If you want to add to that, you buy those as an accessory item. Back to the basic setup of just the firebox and the fire ring, the Classic 3 and the Classic 3 differs from the Classic 2 with the addition of the new slow roller hyperbolic insert. This guy's designed to create more even heating throughout the chamber and a better use of smoke. This guy sits right on top of the fire ring in place of the divide and conquer rack, and then you set the divide and conquer rack in place on top of the slow roller base, and then you put the remaining 2 pieces of the slow roller base in place. This actually elevates the divide and conquer rack a little bit, so you've got a little bit different configuration once you have the slow roller in place. With the slow roller in place, you only have 2 cooking levels. You have one directly above the slow roller and then one elevated that you can see here in this photograph. So here on video, I'm going to give you a little bit better demo of how the slow roller goes in place. We're just going to take the slow roller and set it in directly on the fire ring and kind of center that up a little bit. And then the second piece fits right in place, and then the top piece sits right here, and then your divide and conquer rack sits in the notches on the slow roller just like that. So at that point, you can set your cooking grids in place. You can set them on the top level, or you can set them in the lower position here directly above and have a second set up on top. So as you can see here with the slow roller installed, The divide and conquer flexible cooking rack is elevated up above the standard grate level by 2 inches, where you can have these guys up here, have your food slightly higher in the dome, and have more clearance if you want it over the top of the slow roller. So there's a lot of upgrades to consider here on the Classic 3. You've got this new cart with the new casters and the storage deck that's really nice. You've got the aluminum powder coated side shelves. You've got the slow roller, and you've got the multi-level, the 3-level divide and conquer rack. And this guy also comes with that charcoal basket that I think's selling for $119 by itself. So that's an overview, a quick overview of the Classic 3. So let's just keep on rolling, and I'm gonna break this guy in by cooking a Boston butt on it. So let's get started with that. We're gonna get this Boston butt cook started in the new Classic 3 here. I've got a fire lit in the center of the firebox, and I've got some chunks of pecan and cherry wood in place. I've got the base of the slow roller in, so we're gonna put the top on, and we're gonna set up to run this cook at about 250 degrees or so overnight. So I'm gonna put both halves of the grill grates in here. And since I've got a 10-pound butt, I'm going to use the lower position, and we're going to set this Boston butt right here in the center of the rack once the grill heats up. And while our grill is coming up to temp, I'm going to get this Boston butt ready. I've already trimmed off all but about 1/4 of an inch of the fat cap. And today I'm going to use the Atlanta Grill Company's Man Cave Meals AP Mojo. We're going to put a layer of that on here first. I'm going to cover both sides with it. And once I have a small layer of that on here, we're going to finish it off with a nice liberal layer of the Atlanta Grill Company's Man Cave Meals Pork Mojo. We're going to put a nice heavy coat of that on all sides of this. And once we have a really nice coat of that on, we're just going to let that sit here and marinate in that for a little bit while our grill comes up to temperature. Okay, our Classic 3 is up to temp, and I'm ready to put this thing on. And I've just decided, just for the fun of it, we're going to cook this butt right in that pan I prepped it in. And like I said, I'm going to cook between 250 and 275, so I'm expecting a 12-hour cook at least. So I'll be watching for this to get probe tender, and once I have that, I'll bring you back and we'll have a look at it. Okay guys, we've been going right at 14 hours on this Boston butt. The internal temperature of this meat's about 201 degrees. It's probing beautifully butter tender. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I'm going to double wrap it in foil, and we're going to rest it in the cooler for at least 2 hours before we come back and tear this apart. Okay, I've been resting this guy in the cooler wrapped for 2.5 hours, so now it's kind of time to pull this apart. And first thing I always like to do is just yank that bone out. Comes out nice and clean, and this guy's got a beautiful smoke ring here. See if you can see that. And we're just going to pull this apart. Look at that, really nice deep smoke ring on that pork. And I just pull pork by hand anymore. I don't even mess with the forks or the different pulling utensils that people buy. I just take it, break it up, pull it. I like mine fairly coarse. Man, this is beautiful. This stuff's just falling apart. Look at that. So that's the first cook I've done here on the new Classic 3. I'm really impressed with it, and the slow roller seems to perform fairly well. I can't really talk yet in detail about the flavor difference that we're getting in this. I'm going to have to try a couple of different things with it, but I do believe we have a lot more even heating within the grill. This Boston butt cooked about 1.5 hours to maybe 2 hours quicker than I would normally expect a butt this size to cook. I would normally expect 15 to 16 hours on a butt this size at 250-ish throughout the entire cook, and this one cooked in right at 14 hours. So that extra convection that's going on in there and the more even airflow may be making a really big difference. So we're just going to keep on going, keep on cooking with this thing, and we'll keep on talking about it as we go. So until next time, this is John Setzler with the Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.